Hey everyone, I'm Chad. Thanks for coming to Arctic Horde Wargaming. We're going to kick off the new year with Ryan versus Mitch. Ryan brought the Grey Knights and Mitch brought his Deathwing. But before we get into this, if you could hit that subscribe button, it's over here in the corner somewhere. I'd appreciate that. Join the Horde. And also stick around to the end. The guys have a really nice long sit-and chat, talk about not just the game, but kind of meander off into different things about their armies and different builds and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, definitely stick around to the end. And now let's get into the show, folks. Here we go.
So it's the first number of our Strike Force mission, so go ahead and just see what we get.
Ooh,
Want to roll again? Go for it. 1. Okay, so we're in the 1 section, so then roll again, and we'll roll for the second part of that number. And so that's a, since it goes 1, 2, 3, that's a D3, and it goes to 1, so it's a retrieval mission. So we'll do that. We'll be fine. What? Attacker and defender now? 3. Oh, so I have to choose whether I want to be defender or attacker. Defender has to pick side and drop first, right?
Yes.
You can be defender.
Okay. Okay, go for it.
So today we're going to be playing in the Grand Tournament book for 2021 Strike Force mission Retrieval mission. It's on page 36. It's a take and hold, so you control 1, get 5, get control 2, get another 5, and control more, get another 5. The secondary is minimal losses. At the end of the battle, add up the number of units in your army. This is your army strength. If a unit splits from form to 2, okay, so this is the one. In the end, you have to add up how many units from your army are left on the battlefield, and if you have 75% or more, you get 15 points. If you have between 50 and 75, you get 10, and 25 or more, you get 5. So that's definitely good for you, because you guys are hard to kill. So that's a fun one. But otherwise, other than that, yeah, it's pretty simple. There's 6 objectives, and we'll get her set up.
What page is it?
I already said that. It's on page 36. First turn, roll off. I got a 6. I have to go first. I don't even get the choice. So, Grey Knight's turn.
Hello, my name is Mitch Klein, and I am playing Deathwing Terminators today. And going as close to our lovely cameraman here is my first Deathwing Terminator squad. The assault cannon is standing in for a plasma cannon. The teleportating Homer is standing in for a Dark Watcher. They are all equipped with storm bolters, and their fist weapons and weapons in hand are as they are displayed beyond that. Coming down the line here, we have my 10-man brick. That is Hammer Squad. They are equipped with their rocket shoulder pads. And the Sergeant here is not equipped with a Thunderhammer. That is standing in to signify that he is in charge of Hammer Squad. They are otherwise WYSIWYG. Going forward, we have the Deathwing Ancient, who is equipped with Chain Fist and Stormbolter. Then we have the Apothecary, who has been upgraded with the spending command point for a Selfless Healer. He has Stormbolter. In front of him is the Deathwing Knight Squad and their Dark Watcher. They are equipped as they are shown with Storm Shields, the Maces of Absolution, and the Flail of the Unforgiven. And finally, for our last squad, is entirely WYSIWYG, and equipped with a Plasma Cannon, Power Sword, Storm Bolters, and Power Fists throughout, along with a Dark Watcher. In reserve, we have one Deathwing Command Squad equipped with Storm Shields and Thunderhammers. Going up here, we have a Deathwing Champion equipped with the Halberd of Caliban. Here we have standing in is a Deathwing Strike Master equipped with Stormbolter, which has been spent a CP for, is now the Foe Smiter, a Assault 4, Strength 5, AP-1 weapon. And then here, our Warlord for this evening is Interrogator Chaplain Orbitus, equipped with Combi Flamer, has upgraded to the Master of Sanctity, has the Warlord trait for Master of Sanctity, and his Corium Azurus has been upgraded to the Benediction of Fury out of the core rulebook for Space Marines, and then behind them is an Assault Terminator squad with Lightning Claws and Homing Beacon standing in for Watcher in the Dark. And that is my Deathwing Terminators list.
How many points?
2,000 points on the dot.
And then what are your, not secondaries, what is it?
Command points?
My command points total sits at 10.
No, that's not what I was thinking of. The stuff you picked at the beginning.
We already...
My secondaries are Stubborn Defiance, Abhor the Witch, and Minimize Losses. And my Deathwing list has yet to lose against a Primaris Space Marines list of any kind of variant, firstborn forever.
And why is that?
Why is that? Because the entirety of my army has transhuman. They can only be wounded on 4s, 5s, and 6s. Every Terminator armor should give this to every single chapter unabashedly. It should not be locked just to the First Legion, though Dark Angels is best.
Hi, it's Ryan from Arctic Horde Wargaming. My name is... Oh, jam. Damn.
Are you Slim Shady?
I am Slim Shady.
Please stand up.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'm with Arctic Horde Wargaming. Today I'm going to be playing Grey Knights. I actually changed up the list slightly this time. I quickly put paint on top of some servitor models, but they're not really normal servitor models. They're from Etsy, which are way better looking than the servitor models in my opinion. Anyway, so today we got 2 patrol detachments. I'm running double Grand Master Dread Knights. So we have a Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight here. Behind him is the Librarian. Next to him is Lord Kaldor Drago. Behind Kaldor Drago is an Apothecary. In the front line here is some Interceptors with Falchions, a unit of Strike Squads with Halberds, and one guy has a Nemesis Warning Staff. These are my substitute servitor models off of Etsy. I will give Chad the link to talk about below. They're more Dark Angels-esque, but then I realized they look like Santa Claus when I painted them, so that's always fun. Anyway, hiding under here is another unit of Strike Squads. These guys have swords, and 2 guys have Nemesis Warning Staffs. Next to him, up on top here, is another Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight. But next to them is a unit of Paladins. We have a mixture of things. The main thing is that one of them has a Psy Cannon and one of them has an Incinerator. So on this side we have another unit, my other unit of 5 Interceptors with Falchions. We have a unit of Terminators, 3 of them with swords, 2 of them with Falchions. And then another unit of Servitors, making the 9 inches so he can't teleport in behind me. And then my last Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight over here. Again, everything is WYSIWYG. I am at 2,000 points and 6 command points.
What are your secondaries?
So I'm running Purify, Retrieve Arctarius Data, and Engage on all fronts. And the other fun part about this is that, I'm taking Rapiers and Prescient. The Prescient is going to be one of the Grandmasters that is the Visions of whatever. I get to redeploy my core guys. The Librarian, the Terminator Squad, and I believe the Apothecary, and everything else is Rapiers. Yeah, so it goes Librarian, the non-jumping Grandmaster Nemesis Dread Knight, one of the Servitor Squads, an Apothecary, and the Terminators. So, that's all I got.
Alright, here we go. Grey Knights.
I totally wanted him to go first for a reason, because we were way too far away from each other, and that screws me over. But here we are. It was exactly what I thought was going to happen. I killed 1 Terminator. That was it. Because his transhuman thing, the permanent transhuman, or whatever it is, where I have to only wound him on a 4 and a 5, 4, 5, or 6. I only did 2 damage here. I killed 1 guy here and did 2 damage here. That was the extent. The Apothecary basically saved nearly all the mortal wounds from the Librarian, so that sucked. And these guys Ethereal Castigated so I could get a point for Engage on all fronts for the turn. Even though they're going to probably die next, that's fine. They did what they were supposed to do, is get me points and move on. The only other thing I did was I didn't cast, but I did Retrieve Arctarius Data on his corner on my side. So that corner over there with the little servitor boys. Everything else I did 3 purify, so I get 4 points. And yeah, that was pretty much it.
Put these guys in cover.
Yeah, so they're in cover up there. So again, anything that's outside of 12 inches gets -1 to, because I'm still in shadows. It's I get light cover, so I get a bonus to my AC, or not my AC. That's D&D talk. My armor save, I get +1, and then when I'm in light cover or touching cover to give me light cover. So like these, we're ruling it that these guys, if they're touching it, they get light cover. So these guys are touching this. So they have the benefits of light cover, which means they get the benefits of dense cover. Same with these guys, and they're the only ones who get it right now.
Alright, let's go on to Dark Angels, turn 1.
Greetings, salutations. Deathwing, turn 1. Down over here. First squad was able to... First squad fired, only took out 1. Then they proceeded to have their plasma cannon fire at the Grandmaster. Did a whole lot of nothing. And so we moved on. Shooting phase. Hammer Squad fired into the Interceptors.
Yes.
And did a whole lot of nothing, taking another one. So another one dead. The Rockets, knowing that he, who teleported and did his psyker shenanigans, fired at this Grandmaster, bringing him down to 1 wound remaining. From downtown, bottom squad finished off shooting, did 1 damage here into the Librarian, and then fired its plasma cannon at maximum shots, and only getting 2 through and dealing 1 damage to bring it down and killing the Grandmaster. The Librarian was then charged by the Deathwing Knights and pummeled into oblivion by said Deathwing Knights.
Yeah. He did try and go back and get that apothecary, but didn't do shit.
The apothecary said, no, you're not hurting me today. And here we stand at the beginning of Grey Knight's turn 2.
So you got, at the end of that, you got 8 points for Abhor the Witch. So what does Stubborn Defiance do?
Stubborn Defiance comes in next turn. Since they're holding this point in my zone, I will get 2 points for it turn 2. Next turn I hold it, I get 3 points.
And this is a
cumulative
thing.
This is a Deathwing specific cumulative.
Yep. And then the minimized casualties, that's at the end of the game anyway.
Yes.
So
I have to keep 75%.
So that'll be on that objective over here?
Yeah. Stubborn Defiance is on this objective here.
Because that's the only one that's inside our deployment zone.
Yep.
Alright.
Grey Knights, turn 2.
So, I had to do what I had to do. I had to do a lot of things and I didn't like it. This bastard here is still alive, holding that 1 objective point. Drago failed his charge. These guys failed their charge. There's still 1 guy there, so he's still holding that point. So he'll still get 10 this turn. I was trying to deny him and get myself 15 points next turn, but that didn't work. So that's what happened there. And then this jumbled mess in the middle happened. I took my Paladins, my Interceptors, and my Dread Knight, and I had to go into this mob of guys here. The Dread Knight killed the Apothecary, and because he did that, his guys, couldn't do his other saves. I finally did the Rapiers in Convergence, or Escalation, or whatever it's called. And I finally got to use their thing where they get to do mortal wounds, which is fantastic. Worked out well, except for these guys took 6 mortal wounds and only killed like 1 guy after all 6. So that was fun. Then he did this fun thing with his Paladin Ancient, or no, not Paladin Ancient, his Ancient guy with the banner. Makes it so that apparently these guys get to hit again. What is that called?
They fight on death.
Yeah. So that was fun, and it basically wiped out nearly my whole Paladin squad. The leader is the only one that's left. So he's surrounded by 4 dead Paladins and a bunch of other dead guys. So that's what happened there. Big guy's still at full health. This guy charged in on these guys. They left him at 2 health left, and he did nothing over there. So that was cool. So yeah, that's the extent of what happened there. We did another purify on 3 locations, so we got 4 points. We definitely have engage on all fronts still with the guy over there, so we'll get 2 points for that. And we rotted, so we got 4 points total in rod. And that should be it. Primaries, I scored 10 because I scored 2, or I held 2, but I did not hold more than the opponent at the time. So at the beginning of his turn, he will score 10 because he holds 2 objectives, but not more than me, unfortunately for him. So, we'll move on to Dark Angels. Turn 2.
Deathwing, turn 2. Didn't really do much for command phase because our commander finally came on this field down over here with his bodyguard squad. The strike master and the champion popped in. They were able to lay in some fire into the strike squad here, taking 2 of them, but not doing much else. No charges from them. Hammer squad was able to fire into the Grandmaster Dreadnought because the Ancient, using 2 command points, used Intractable so that he could fall back without without rolling 2 die 6 and still firing in. He was able to deal a wound here. The Assault Squad also teleported in, same time as the Bodyguard Squad and the characters. In the fight phase, my lovely opponent's Interceptor Squad attacked first, laying low my Deathwing Knights, for they were no longer protected from his mortal wound generation. The Ancient, however, allowed them to fight on death, and they were able to claim the life of the Paladin. And swinging back over here, Sword Squad was able to hold the line and bring down a Dread Knight. And this is now leading into Grey Knights, turn 3. Teleport away?
Kinda. If they live. Hi, it's Ryan. This is turn 2? No, my 3rd turn. So, I got 10 points. I decided that since he dropped his guys, I'll take my servitor substitutes and move them forward. These guys were able to make it and hold the objective. They're hugging this side, just so they have light cover. And these guys tried to hug around this side of the building. It's hard to see, but they weren't able to make it, so I had to keep the Terminators there. While they
Hang on, where are they hiding? I don't even see them.
On this side.
Well, let me move this way.
They're over there.
They're there.
So these guys had to stay around here. We ended up killing this Ancient boy during combat phase. Unfortunately, our last Grandmaster did die against these guys. He only killed 1 of them, unfortunately, in the process. We tried shooting the Lightning Claw guys that came in, but, that was nothing happened there.
These guys right here that teleported in, I assume?
No, these guys right here. Yeah, these guys here. So what we tried to do is we tried to purify this location, and he used his, what is it called?
Watcher in the Dark.
Watcher in the Dark, and denied it. So I only got 2 points for purify that turn. Correct?
Yes.
So that's a real big hit for me, unfortunately. Throughout this turn, he's ended up maxing out Abhor the Witch, so he gets his 15, which I expected. And then over here, we already talked about that. He had Hammer Hand, which sucks, but that didn't really help in the end because you saved really good. Drago failed his charge, but he did Vortex of Doom and Smite and killed this guy. What is this guy called?
That is the Deathwing Strike Master.
So he's dead.
A lieutenant.
Yeah, we killed the plasma cannon guy that was going after these guys, and they were outside of 3 inches. These guys consolidated up. My apothecary and this strike squad are dead because of your bodyguard champion.
Yep, Deathwing champion.
So that's what's going on there. It's his turn. It's not likely that these guys will live any longer, but, we can always hope for the best. You have less shooting now, which is good for me, but your next turn you're going to start with 10 points. Then you're going to get this thing, correct? Which is 3 points now for Stubborn.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where we're at. Not looking too great with the Grandmaster's gone, but Drago's still here, so there's always hope. If there's
there is no hope. There is only war.
Yeah. And Warp Dust.
Dark Angels, turn 3.
And at the end of Grey Knight's turn... Grey Knight's turn 3. Dark Angel's turn 3. Deathwing turn 3. We have done quite a bit. So, we have moved our squad here just so they could get line of sight. They brought their Stormbolters here to bear. They were not able to kill anything. They were able to wound 1. And the plasma cannon fired off and was able to kill 2 over there.
Yes.
And then Hammer Squad fired its Stormbolters into the Interceptor Squad, annihilating it with volume of fire. The rockets only fired off with the frag missiles, which
16 shots.
16 total shots.
What?
One wound. One died. And in the fighting, the Orbitus, the Chaplain, Interrogator Chaplain, fired into the Servitor Squad, scoring 0 hits.
Then he took out Drago.
And with a charge and ensuring of overwhelming power, he crumped Drago quite heavily with his holy bonk stick.
Yeah, and I had no command points, otherwise I would have hit back.
He could not fire back.
It's unfortunate.
And then finally, the Assault Squad charged in and was able to cleave down 2 of the Grey Knight Terminators and have taken command of the point. And now begins the Grey Knight's response. Their riposte.
Turn 4, I get 10 points at the start.
So Grey Knights, turn 4.
Understand it. Even though Chad doesn't understand numbers, other people will. So that was Grey Knight's turn number 4. At this point, we didn't really have much to work with. I brought servitors into combat. I dragged these boys around here. They had an 8-inch charge. They got in. Did you know that a servitor, even though it hits really, really like high up, it's like a 4 or 5 to hit, they have a ×2, -2 AP, 3 damage hit. But they only have 1 attack. So I'm going to get a Tech Marine in my future because they get a bonus if they're around him. But since these guys were in combat, he got the hit first. I had to make 15 saves, and I failed after there was enough saves that I died. And at this point, this is under his control. So at the end of my turn, I only get 2 points for Purify because I purified this one and that one, and
that one and
the one that's under the bridge here.
Okay.
So I only get to purify those 2, as well as I got my 10 points for having these 2 points controlled. So at the beginning of his next turn, he's going to get 15 because he controls more than me. And he's going to proceed to get, or continue to get more than 15 because he has more objectives under his control. So with that, I'm going to concede because there's no way I can actually win. In the end, when we talk about how the points go, his score would be 90, and mine would be 68, and that's with the painted army bonus, obviously. As far as like tournament scoring and stuff like that, it's 90 to 60 for Dark Angels.
Oh.
All right, well, good game.
Good game.
I didn't get that on camera. I should have.
No. Yeah, you should have. Too late. So that was exactly how I thought it was going to go for me. When I heard that you were running a Terminator list, I was like, oh. I fought against one of these in a tournament, and it was basically the exact same thing, except for he had to pay to do the 4 to 6 on wounds instead of you just getting it automatically. So that sucks.
Yeah. The reason why you get the 4 to 5 and 6 is because if every one of them has the inner circle keyword, and you take them as a Vanguard detachment, and your Warlord is part of that Vanguard detachment, not only do you get your command points refund, but then you get the inner circle buff, which is the permanent transhuman, which makes it stupid. Which is why Firstborn, in my opinion, are vastly superior to the Primaris. Like, oh yes, I'll spend 2 command points to make this one unit better. And I haven't seen, I've watched a lot of shows, I haven't seen a pure list like mine that is nothing but Terminators. I've seen them with Blade Guard, I've seen them with a Flying Schmashton, Mm-hmm. I've seen them with all different variants, but I've never seen a pure Terminator list.
And that's where you had me thinking. Your guys are, you said the Terminators are 33 points apiece, correct?
Yes.
See, that's where I was looking at my Terminators, because just to have a block of 10 damn guys, it seems it's daunting. Like, you can't go against that and come out alive, especially if they have Power Fists, which are what, times 2?
Times 2, minus 3 AP, 2 damage.
2 damage. Okay. Because with mine, my guys cost, my Terminators cost 42 points apiece. And my Paladins cost 47. So, but the difference is my troops, because of what you're running, yours count as troops and get objective secure. Mine are just regular troop choices. But, if I was to try and do something like that, it would be very, very expensive.
And it's,
these guys are 22 points apiece. These guys. And they have 2 wounds apiece, and they...
And my standard firstborn, which I could easily go into my box and pull out, 14 points.
Yeah.
My Devastators that I usually run if I'm running a non-Terminator list are rough. They're 200 for the 5 with only 4 with the heavy plasma cannons, 256 for the whole squad. And I put a lieutenant right next to them. They're not going to move, and they're just going to sit there and fire out at 36 inches of range and cause destruction.
So, one of the lists that I did in a tournament was actually, the idea was to take a list called Preservers, and then you take 2 Apothecaries, one of which is better than the other. Gives you it's an upgraded one, so you get the 5 instead of a 6. However, you still have to pay for bringing somebody back, and it costs a CP to do it, so it's all fun.
And see, that's where it's like, that's why making him the chief apothecary, and the fact that Grey Knights don't have that, to be able to pull that from the Space Marine Codex, the big one it's cruel and unusual punishment.
Well, yeah,
because I can sit there, if I drop my 5-man character blob with the bodyguards and the Deathwing Knights, just right off the bat, and slowly walk them up the field with absolutely everyone.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
It's a bad day.
I think, I was a little disappointed in the Librarian, but I understand why with your Apothecary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I was to do it again, and I saw that frontline squad, I would have, I could have done things a little bit differently, where I could have known, like, if I would have known, oh yeah, they're going to blob up, which I should have known. Offhand, I should have known that. What I could have done is said, yep, I'm going to put him in reserves, and then brought him in behind.
Yes.
And then I could have targeted directly on your Apothecary and focused on the flanks first.
Yep.
And or just taken my Dread Knights and just set them back here and made you come up towards them, and then they just come and take you. But then you could have pulled the other guys.
You took a lot of aggressive
yeah.
stances to try and jump forward. And I really feel like I had 5 characters. Granted, they're beefy-ass characters.
Oh, yeah.
But Assassination would have been better for you
instead
than
of Engage.
Engage on all fronts. Because on Engage, you only got on your table quarter. And when you attempted to get onto my table quarter, I either shot you off or was able to interrupt, or you had to do something else because I have this line that doesn't die.
Yeah. So while we were playing, I was like, oh, I found a loophole if they live. So Drago and the Interceptors, if the Interceptors can actually do the what is it called? They can do the Raise Octarius data. So when we talk about retrieve Octarius data, in the loophole that I was thinking, or I was looking up, is if I have guys that are in combat, they can't get out, they can commit the action, I believe. Or they can. I wonder if they would have to. Or no, they weren't near anybody. That's what was going on.
Yeah, they were not near anybody.
They weren't near anybody. They were outside of 6 inches. They could have declared, "I'm doing this action," and then I could have saved them or protected them by then actually taking Drago and teleporting him out. Because as long as they maintain the same quarter, it still works. So that's always good.
Yeah, there is that way, but you had to use some.
There would have been so much. It would have just been ridiculous.
Everything with that has to go off perfectly. And looking at it is you took on a chunky list. You took out my Deathwing Knights, the second chunkiest of my units.
Mm-hmm.
You took out my Apothecary. You took out my Ancient. You took out my Strike Master, and you took out another one of my squads. That is more than many can say, especially against this list.
So I knew right away the only way to beat this list is Mortal Wounds. And so that's why I tried to focus on. And then that damn Apothecary saved you so many times. I was like, oh, okay, we're just going to go with that. But
the Apothecary and having them as selfless healer and then not having to pay a command point to bring another guy back. When I brought him back, the one guy back the first turn, your face was just like, you don't have to pay for that? I'm like, no.
No, okay.
Why? Because I'm the first and I'm spoiled.
So they're... go ahead. I was going to say that, as far as like, who is your most valuable player, that would have probably been the Apothecary.
The Apothecary is always probably the heaviest carrier because he brings them back from the dead, and if I have him paired with the Bodyguard, which have gone up against Vindicare Assassins and lived.
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
And basically, the Vindicare Assassin will kill one of the Bodyguards.
Yeah.
Straight out. But won't get to the rest of the squad. And then the Apothecary was just like...
He's back!
Because the Bodyguard rule takes over the Lookout... is better than the Lookout Sir.
Yeah.
And it supersedes the Snipe Special rule.
The other thing I was going to say is that you should... I would honestly actually say that your MVPs, at least in this game, was probably your Ancient in combination with
the Apothecary.
Because, they go down, they hit the hit while they die, and then, next turn, you're up! And then you just do it again. I'm like,
and
crap!
The hallmark of the squad is Hammer Squad with the rockets.
Yep.
The D6 damage. I hit 2 of your Dread Knights with it. They're always good with the crack missiles. And as long as they don't move...
Then they get the +1 to hit.
And all it takes for me to do is I can move them each and every turn and just use 1 command point on steady advance from the Space Marine Codex. And guess what? I get my +1 to hitting, and I'm hitting on 2s.
So when it came to when we had the Grandmaster, who was the jumping one.
Yep.
He went up against that other squad that was here.
And the second
because he got shot, so he gets to pop his stuff.
Yep.
Where he could either choose. Or he could do both, which is what I decided to do. I used that I popped it so that he would move closer and tank that shot, because I didn't want to... I wanted a closer charge for the next turn, because I didn't want to miss that.
And I decided to take out the other Grandmaster, because he didn't pop anything, because the second you took the plasma with the 3-up invuln, I'm like, that is not worth me firing 4 rockets to potentially do it. And so I came downtown and fired. You saved 2, and I sat there and got 12.
Yeah, 12 off the top.
12 off the top, putting him down to 1. And then fired with my other plasma. And I didn't use Weapons of the Dark Age beyond first turn. And that's what scares you into pulling the, oh crap, because that's a potential 9 wounds in a turn, when really the crack missiles, for the heavy weapons on the field, the crack missiles are creme de la creme. My personal love is plasma. Nothing but plasma.
I've been looking at a couple lists, and so there's the Mortal Wounds. I actually finally got to use the Mortal Wounds for the rapiers, even though I didn't really get to use their little specific thing that they do, where basically in a rapier's thing they cast they do a spell, they get another attack per model.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why people run rapiers with it. But if you just have a lot of attacks, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I finally got to do the convergence because I had somebody alive to change the warp finally.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked out really well. That made me have the longevity that I had in this game.
If you didn't have the Mortal Wound generation, if you weren't able to change the tides, my Deathwing Knights would have still been on the field.
Yeah.
I feel.
They would.
And the Apothecary may have survived because he took 4 mortals before your Dreadmaster hit him.
Oh yeah, that was great.
And if he hadn't taken those mortals, and if he was still on the field, I would have probably dropped a heck of a lot closer to your Grandmaster.
Yeah.
And then just charged with my character blob to reinforce, to just try and keep you off of it.
Yeah.
To try and take out that Dreadmaster earlier. And there's like a few things I've thought of doing that I despise but also like, is change out the Apothecary for a Ravenwing Apothecary.
Okay, what's the difference?
The Ravenwing Apothecary is on a bike.
Oh, yep, I've seen that. But is that still Firstborn? Or
It's
is
still Inner Circle, still Firstborn.
Well, then, what would you have to get rid of to do that?
I'd have to get rid of the Apothecary. And
Right.
probably a couple other...
How many points is it? Would you have to just basically reduce your...
Can I remember my
blob
book
10?
real quick? I can get you
sure.
the exact point cost of the Ravenwing Apothecary.
Because my thought is you would basically have to reduce your blob of 10 would have to go to, like, what, 8?
Then I would lose one of my rockets.
You would lose one of your rockets, which is a big heavy hitter.
Yep, and the Ravenwing Apothecary is 100 points.
And the regular apothecary is like what, 75?
100 points. My Deathwing Apothecary is 100 points.
And the other one is...
The Ravenwing Apothecary is also 100 points.
So
It
I would already go... I would go buy that like tomorrow.
I already have it.
Oh,
I just
then
haven't finished
make
paying
it.
No,
Let's go.
the reason why I hate it is because this is pure.
Oh, I get you.
It's nothing but Terminators.
So when you talk about painting up stuff, strike squads?
What? What about my strike?
Anyway.
And the one thing is I'm looking at trying to build a Ravenwing list. I have the Storms already painted, and it'd be a more vehicle-heavy list, with a couple of just standard Firstborn squads in there. It'd probably be run as a battalion, not getting all the Outrider shenanigans because I don't have enough.
Yeah.
Because if I was running an Outrider detachment with Ravenwing, I would do bikes. Nothing but bikes. And to where it's just, oh look, they're all deployed. What do you mean? It's nothing but bikes. And there would be a Schmashton who would be leading it on a bike, and it'd just be hilarious.
So, other than the fact that that Drago did what he did on this side of the board, who would be the least valuable thing on the field that you brought?
The least valuable thing on the field that I brought?
Yeah. My assumption it was going to be the other guy who
The strike
happened to be the guy
Strike
the
Master.
closest.
To be honest, the Strike Master.
Because he died immediately.
It's 95 points I could probably put into something else.
Yeah.
It's another couple Terminators.
Do you have to have...
I don't have to have the Strike Master in there. I like having him in there, but I could change him out for something else.
95 points?
Yes.
Is there any way you could get another 5 points out of something else? So
I drop a Watcher in the Dark, and I could probably get another Raven. I could probably throw a Ravenwing Apothecary
That's
in
what
there
I'm saying.
and make it worse.
Oh,
because
yeah.
then I'm running 2 Apothecaries.
Uh-huh.
Except for the problem is I'm running out of elite slots.
Oh.
Because the Bodyguard squad with the Thunderhammers is actually a Deathwing command squad.
Okay.
And so they allow me to take certain options out.
Which, by the way, Battlescribe, you need to update your stuff.
Yeah, because the Deathwing Strike Master ain't in there, bro. But, like, the Ravenwing Apothecary, so, like, it needs Black Knights, otherwise it counts as an elite slot. And for a Vanguard, you can only have 3 elite slots taken up as troops. Or 6, sorry. You can have a total of 6 slots in the Vanguard. And so I'd have to drop a squad.
Could you potentially run a second... What's required for HQs for that? Is it just 1?
HQs is 1 or 2.
1 or 2. So could you just run a separate detachment? And, I mean, you would lose some victory, or,
I would lose command points.
You would lose 2 command points, but you would have...
But in all honesty, my amount of command points that I have...
was excessive.
It's excessive. And that excessiveness leads to me to be able to do
More stuff.
Yeah,
absolutely.
and one thing I think I would have changed considerably is actually I think I should have brought in all of the characters and the bodyguards and left the Deathwing Knights in reserve.
Yeah.
And then brought the Deathwing Knights in at a later point and been using my chaplain, Interrogator Chaplain Orbitus, to drop an orbital bombardment on something.
Yeah, I would have...
Because it could have forced you off of this point you've been sitting on, keeping you out of... Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about doing it to the other one in the back, but
I honestly would sit...
There's a lot of points.
I'm sorry. I would sit there. Like, I with this army, mortal wounds are the biggest way and the easiest way to kill my characters and my squads. And another thing I could have changed up is instead of taking the chaplain, take a librarian instead.
Yeah.
And gone more for psychic deny rather than psychic points.
But 15 points, I mean, like,
the guaranteed the guaranteed 15 points, I'm sorry, I'll sacrifice my psychic.
Yeah.
Which I could, with the psychic, with the intromancy discipline, I can take away your OPSEC. I can take away this.
Yeah. The only time it's not worth it is, like, somebody takes a librarian in a Space Marines list. It's like, it's a one guy, it's a character, it's 3 points, not doing it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only time you do it. You just have your backup, the secondaries that you would do. But for me, like, the Grandmasters who can swing 12 times with the sweeping attack on this, where it just the volume
is better than the one hit.
Definitely better than the one hit per. But if I had to say the key players were these damn little guys. The first time I've ever brought them, they were so good.
Yes, because if you didn't bring the servitors, if you did not have them here, I would have waited till turn 3 and I would have dropped squads right in. Yeah. Like I did, and then done. Just start coming this way.
Yep. And that's why I took them. And, I've been thinking about, I need to, but there's 2 different ways to go for a Grand Knight's list. You either do sword bearers, or you do rapiers with a bunch of strike squads and interceptor squads. And some do a mix. This is kind of a mix, but that's kind of the 2 routes. And if I would have done sword bearers with just Dread Knights, a 6 Dread Knight list, I could have had 6 guys maybe casting Smite here and there, but the moral wound output would have sucked.
If you only have 6 of them, I would have dropped everything on the field. Like, I would have kept a couple squads in reserve, but I would have dropped my character blob, my bodyguard, and just started walking into you.
You wouldn't have to. I would have to go to you.
And and with the rockets not moving, I was hitting with 4 rockets each time. Then it was just to wound, and I was wounding on 3s.
Yep, that's just like, there's a Dread Knight, there's a Dread Knight.
And so they do great amount of work.
Like, they may have invulnerable saves and all that other fun stuff, but I think in the end, if you're looking at just the amount of wounds they have and stuff, I almost think it might be worth taking Paladins, because they have, in comparison to like a regular Dread Knight, right? A regular Dread Knight is, I think it's like 165 points, I want to say. And
the regular Dread Knight folded faster than any of your squads of Paladins.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And that's
because you don't have the overflow. It'll cut off.
And see, with like, that's why I like the meat shields that I have. I have 15 wounds in a 5-man squad. Yep. Realistically, I have 30 wounds. Yep. Because of the transhuman. I brought this against the list in a tournament versus a Gene Stealer Cult's vehicle list with nothing but las cannons. I rocked his world. It was not fair and it was not kind, because I took his, I'm going to wound you on 2s. No, my entire army you're wounding me on 4s. I cut his entire firepower easily in half because they have a 4 up on their shooting.
I have something that does that. I have to pay command points for it though, but this is like, you should go to, did you go to Renegade at all?
No, I haven't. I don't generally go to many tournaments, and I should. It's one of those to where I've been polishing this list. And the people over at the Champion store that I play with are like, I bring it out for a bonk list. Like, if somebody has pissed somebody off, if somebody has wronged someone to the nth degree, I bring out this list because it's not fun to play against. Because in the tournament I played against them, I won with a perfect game of 100 points.
Yeah, that's killer.
And I felt bad, but I was told, bring your most competitive list. So I brought it.
Bring it.
I was playing against people that did not bring a competitive list. They brought fluff lists, or they didn't know their army super intensively. Yeah. And somebody was, I'm going to teleport strike in on Hammer Squad. I didn't even get to the rocket pods. I just blew them off the table with 40 shots from storm bolters. We were in the tactical doctrine.
You know, I almost think that maybe I should take like a squad of 10 strikes and just do the same. You know, they're only two damage apiece.
Mm-hmm.
But if you take a Nemesis Warning Staff, which looks like that, if you take one of these, there's something you can pay for. It costs 2 or 3 command points, depending on if you have a 10-man squad. You'll be able to get an invuln save against shooting. And then you put an apothecary with them, but because then they're 22 points plus an apothecary. You can put that on the backfield, and it'll probably be very comparable in price to what that squad is.
Yeah.
Because it's 210 points for 10 guys.
Yep.
And then I think it's 75 or 100 for an apothecary. An apothecary is 100 points. So 320 points. And I can do something very similar and have more wounds be
380 points.
Yeah.
380 points total. Oh, sorry. Plus 10. Plus another 50. So 380 plus 50. So 430.
430 points just for that.
For that 10-man blob. 430 points.
And I could throw psi cannons in, which are, you saw with the paladin guy, actually does something. You know?
And the one thing that I was thinking is because they also have the ability of combat squads, that you were saying.
Oh, yeah.
I could drop the Strike Master, drop a Watcher in the Dark, and then combat squad, the 2 plasma squads. Have them split off at the beginning of deployment with combat squad.
Yep.
That way there's only 1 unit of 10 with 2 plasma cannons.
Yep.
And then bring that apothecary as the other elite slot, the Ravenwing apothecary, to go zoomy.
That would work.
And start running it around.
Because if you can do combat squads, which I can do as well, you know, that's what I usually want to do. I want to bring a 10-man squad and be like, haha, before we deploy, I'm going to combat squad and put them down. But when I get to the more interceptors list, I will be doing that for sure, because you just take 10, and then you have another 10, and then you go, oh, now I have 4 squads.
Yes.
So and you want to do retrieve Arcturus data? Here I go.
And
you know, just ding ding.
And
good.
If I was to make the list more perfect, more perfected, I would bring in a Ravenwing apothecary who would just be running to the squads
that are low.
That are low. Like this one, when it was down to 3, the Ravenwing apothecary would have shot over to them.
Yep.
Brought at least one of them back by the end of the movement phase and healed any one of them that had a mortal wound on it.
Yep. Exactly.
And honestly, run the regular and got to see with the Space Marines if I couldn't just upgrade.
Can you upgrade both?
If I could upgrade both as Chief Apothecary, one is a Deathwing Apothecary, one is a Ravenwing, well, then I don't have to pay points as they're running around rezzing.
Yeah, that would be... I don't want you to come back with that list. I don't want to go against it.
Well, when I'm planning on, I have to check the amount of points I have, but I have a couple more paints to add to my my terrible gits. That bees my Death Skulls.
Oh, yeah.
And I bring out the boys. And I bring out Death Skulls.
Don't
which
they hit
the
on
entire
like all 4s? That's all orcs do. That's what I was
no, 5s.
5s?
And
oh, jeez.
shooting on 5s, hitting on 3s, and then guess what? Me Smecks hitting on 4s is a special day.
Oh, Jesus.
Except for when we gets into the combat, we's be crumping.
Oh, my God. How do you even...
How does what?
You just bring a horde of guys. That's how you do it, right? That's
well, as Death Skulls, considering that every single thing that has the keyword infantry gains obsec.
Ah, shit.
So I put I put the boys to work, and then I bring some Squig Hog boys just for funs and a little bit of the bikes to be as distraction as possible.
Did you see what about the newest orcs that came out? Did you like the most?
The newest boys that I likes the most. The beast boss on the Squigosaur.
Okay.
Because you give him the Ed Whopper's Kill Chopper and it's done.
There you go.
It's just whap. Legitimately, I've took him into a squad of paladins in an apocalypse match,
Uh,
they did not get to respond.
oh. There used to be there used to be a thing we could pay for and they could respond when they died, but I don't know if they have that anymore.
I took out Drago with a Morkanaut. I blew him off the table with a giant cannon.
The thing I would have done differently, actually, now that I think about it, I would have taken a Couriers of Sacrifice off that Librarian and put it on Drago, which is what I usually do.
It should have.
I usually put him on there.
You would have easily probably been able to kill the Warlord.
I could have maybe survived all that, but I really needed those two damn... I needed two command points.
And that's where the fact that you have to spend so many command points really handicapped you to where I'm sitting here, yes, look at my command points.
Oh, just like swimming like Scrooge in command points. But,
and then, boom.
He's honestly, during this game, he was the worst. He was the absolute worst. He failed his charge. He failed a couple of casts. I had to use
You burned
things.
command point.
Just Drago.
Your portal, your gate.
Yeah, gate. Just
you had to re-roll on a gate. You had to re-roll on
and add a dice on the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then you had to re-roll another gate, and then you had to re-roll his mortal wound, the storm. And you had to you spent 4 command points.
And I only start with 6.
Yeah, you spent 4 command points.
Just on him.
Just on him alone.
And it wasn't worth it to bring, that... So when I talk about, like, who's the best, these guys saved me.
Now,
for
honestly,
30 points for 4 of them, holy shit.
The best was your tactical use of the Dread Knight, your Grandmaster, the one with the dual swords. I would put him as your MVP because of the amount of bodies he dropped.
Oh, well, he did do that. But
the sheer amount of bodies he dropped. He took out the Apothecary, the key.
Yeah, he did. I mean, like, I could have taken the other 5-man squad, could have came in and done the same thing. But yeah, no, because they would have had, 16 attacks? Just 16 attacks on him instead of 12, and then it would have been a higher chance to get just a mortal wound output. Just that's all I needed.
Yep.
So.
And if I had more shooting on the field, I could have shot at your Apothecary and brought him down. And
I don't think you need any more shooting. I think the plasma cannon is ridiculous. I think
the plasma cannons have yet to really fail me. And the scary thing is everyone, just like you, immediately knee-jerk reacts when I do
go after them.
When I move them onto the point, I spend the steady advance point, and then I burn the 2 command points for Weapons of the Dark Age, which ups my AP when I'm already in the Devastator Doctrine, and then ups my damage.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like oh god,
so
god, run away.
That is a 3 damage, 4 AP. Going to burn a hole through your chest on a vehicle.
Yeah, but I mean I did what I don't know. So the things that I would have done differently would be the Librarian would have gotten in the back instead of on turn 2 he would have dropped in the back. I think I think I had to just kind of deal with the terrain. I couldn't really do much about that.
The terrain was, as always, on par and magnificent because it's the first time I was here. We legitimately were playing on a hill, like the hill was in the center.
And the Realm of Battle board's hook.
It was fantastic because it blocked so much shooting.
Yeah,
it blocked so much shooting, and it's one of those where it's like, all right, because I'm staring down white scars. Yes, I did win, and yes, I was playing AdMech, and yes, I was being sneaky shenanigans with friggin' whatnot, but I wasn't using chicken list. You can go back and watch. I was not using a chicken list. I am not a poser like that, no.
The chicken list, oh my god. I did actually beat one guy with the chicken list. He had chickens and like the flyer guys and all this other stuff. And Drago, with a Couriers of Sacrifice, that's what I was saying. He just face-checked 30 shots. It's like, what? And then he like killed a bunch of them. And then he face-checked some more shots after with who was left. They fell back and shot. And he face-checked those. And then killed them. And then killed the big fat guy that floats or whatever. Killed him. And then took the point and everything. It was great.
A big turning point is when you were engaged with the Ancient, and I pulled him out of combat.
Yeah.
It cost me 2 command points, but I just nope. You're no longer in combat.
The only way to combat people doing that is you can pay. It's one of the regular ones. You can pay to like do damage to them, but you have to roll for it.
Yep.
That sucks.
But that's what gave me the opportunity to be able to light up into the face of your Grandmaster.
And the only way to go about getting rid of that is if I would have
encased him. And I would have had to use Desperate Breakout instead, which is the same point cost.
Yeah. That's horrible. And you have to roll for it, and then you have to end outside
of their models.
Yeah, which is
the most annoying unit to fight was your servitors.
Oh yeah,
because
they're great.
The rest folded.
The servitors when they took when they
that little man right there held the MVP for him. Why? Because he's carrying the Lion's helm.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'll just be taking them. They're supposed to be coming back to the rock with me.
No.
Yes.
They are actually. Let me just check real quick. I bought these off of Etsy. They came in 6 in a pack, and I bought 2 packs so I would have 3 units of servitors.
Mm-hmm.
So I could do it with different lists in here and there. Look up how big a Terminator is in real life. Like, well, not real life, but like
it's a story. It's a one-story building. It's a one-story.
This is like as tall as me in comparison when you pull them up next to each other.
No.
You know?
You see, he has. They have. See, all your guys are on platform shoes. Compare him to one of mine.
Yeah.
Well, he comes up to the elbow. He comes at least to the waist.
Yeah. They're just short. So these are from Fallen World store. These were $22 a piece for 6 of them.
Oh.
And so they have a couple different. There's 6 different types. They have one guy holding a shield, the mace, the sword, the gun, the book, the helm. And yeah.
How dare they hold the Lion's Wrath?
I mean, yeah. So that's where they're called Dark Viewers with Relics. So that's who I use. I thought they were one of the better looking ones. There were some other actual like servitor looking ones that were more robot.
Yeah.
I got Grey Knights. That's not gonna fit the feel, and I figured guys in robes would maybe fit the feel better.
Go look at your nearest store and find a bunch of like plate mail. Like dudes in plate mail that don't show like faces.
Oh.
And then just spray them silver, and boom, you've got a knight-like servitor.
So like something like from like Ice and Fire or Fire and Ice or whatever it's called.
Fire and Ice or Dungeons and Dragons or something like that. One of those minis.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I appreciate you coming by.
No problem. It's always fun. It's been a bit since we've been on.
COVID happened. I mean, come on. So yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Please, comment down below if you want to come by. If you're in the Twin Cities, we can always set up that with Chad. And then if you like the way the train looks on the table, Chad does commissions for that. So give him a contact through our Facebook page and all that fun stuff, and go from there. Join the Horde.
Joins the Horde. It's the only way to play here in the north.
That's very good.